Good afternoon, dear friends. I greet all of you. I see that we are on air. If you see and hear me well, please write it in the chat and rate it on the 10th grade system. Or just write it whether you hear or see me well. Ten plus, as I understand, I'll get tens from you because you hear me well. Great. Then in principle, we may begin. Today is the 13th of July, and today is Tuesday. And due to our tradition, we are presenting the technology of transport of Isyp, or the skyway technology, and we'll tell you about the possibilities of for very many people that happen once in one's life, because this offer these directions very prospective, and people who lose it in some time will deeply regret it. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm Maxym Isyp. I am the leader of RSW Systems platform, and I've been in this venture project since February 2014. That is over 8 years. I'd like to see your feedback. How long have you been our like-minded person or fellow thinker? And please write it in the chat. For how long have you been with us? Or if you are here for the first time, then write it down directly. Then you may add from what region you are, from what country. So I have your feedback, and I see that there are investors from 2015, 7 years again, 2014, 2016, the city of Donetsk. This is my native place. I'm from the same region: Georgia, Kharkov, Gelendzhik, Khanty-Mansiysk region. This is Russia again: Moscow region, Belotserkov, Ukraine, Athens, Greece, great, Krasnodar. And I see that many of the people present here are already veterans of our project. Great. I've seen in the chat about the English language. There is a special English language school. It is available in the Telegram chat in English. You can use the link. Dmitry, please drop the link to the English-speaking room so that our guests could join us. Israel, Madina Agustina the Great. Today we have an international team, and it brings a lot of joy. It's no surprise, because what we're doing is developing all over the world. So the results that we have today, that our project, our direction has, will be discussed today. In order to understand such results, I think we have to go back into the history of the creation of student transport and draw a parallel to what is happening in the life of every person, and why the skyway technology innovations in transport will be scaled and developed, thus yielding good investment results to the people who have supported or are supporting this technology now. So in order to understand why it is so, I offered to look at the life of a modern person as an onlooker. So let's analyze the last 150 years. So let's analyze two spheres that are close to all the people that hear me now, and to all the people on planet Earth. Well, a part of these spheres, it's communications and finances. Why these spheres are going to be analyzed now? It's close to us, and changes that have happened in them show that there have been no changes in the sphere of transport. In general, what we have been doing for the last 7+ years have to do with innovations, investments, generating profits. So if we analyze these two spheres of our life, communications and finances, they've undergone deep changes during the last decades and several generations. All of you remember, I'm sure, there are people among us who remember that we were communicating with our relatives with the help of letters written manually and then mailed, waiting for a feedback for weeks and even months. We also remember city telephones with wires, and in order to call some other country, it was necessary to order beforehand an international call to come to the telegraph office and spend some time there in order to talk to the person that we wanted to talk to. It was not long ago. It was during my childhood and even my youth. So it was not long ago. But during the last decade, the possibilities to communicate much quicker and with a higher quality has developed rapidly, and now I'm thousands of kilometers away from you. We have video communication in fractions of a second. We are exchanging information. I'm telling you something and you supply your feedback, and it all happens in fractions of a second. In this sphere, that of communications, there have been a lot of changes. A vivid example of how these changes have happened are such companies like Google, Microsoft, Apple, and dozens of other companies, because their founders, their proprietors were innovators in the sphere of communications. And due to these innovations, we have such priority to communicate with each other. In the sphere of finances, the same history happened. Innovations were implemented in order to let us exchange finances and goods in fractions of seconds. 30 years ago, the post-Soviet area didn't know what electronic money was. People didn't know what plastic cards were, and we had no possibility to pay in shops. Not speaking about in shops, not speaking about the internet trade. That's all. But a couple of decades ago, electronic money appeared, and now all of you, with the help of your mobile phone, with mobile applications in electronic shape, we can exchange money, transfer money, pay in the internet, and it renders our life much simpler. And we have become much more mobile in this respect. As for 2021, the financial sphere of life is even more developed. The blockchain technology has appeared, which allows us to do the same thing that we have just discussed, but confidentially. It's called cryptocurrency, or digital money, and this direction is developed very quickly now. The innovators in this sphere of activity are very well known. The companies are famous, with high capitalizations and have billions of profits. And they possess fortunes. One of the most popular people in the world today, Elon Musk, he was the person who realized PayPal and implemented. It was one of his first projects, and now he's one of the richest persons on earth. PayPal was a good launchpad for him. He sold it successfully and capitalized on some other spheres of his activity. Why am I drawing such a parallel with finances and communications? It will help us understand the perspective, the investment advantages, and see that innovations in transport, skyway technology will allow us to be on par with such spheres that I mentioned, and even go further. So in order to answer this question, let's look as an onlooker on the transport sphere. So the car, the plane, railways have appeared. So this sphere of transport was born 2 centuries ago. So if we talk about the sphere of transport, unfortunately, during this time, changes like innovations have not happened here. The railway was invented in the same shape as it is today. Rails, rolling stock, speeds are the same, almost the same. For example, the average speed of a cargo train is 16, 20 kilometers per hour. Some may say that today we have high-speed trains. Okay, this is not innovation anyhow. This is modernization of what was done before. The same with the car or automobile industry. 4 wheels, internal combustion or electrical engine, but nothing new in principle. Cars are just modernized. They become safer, protecting better passengers. But if we analyze the last decades, accidents kill millions of people, and much more become handicapped. And there are more and more cars every year, manufactured every year, and we have more and more casualties. So if we sum up what I've been telling you for the last 15 minutes, the modern man and the modern society need mobility. The speed of transfer of money, information. So logistics is very important for each and every person, because in transportation we are falling behind, and people living in big cities with population over 1 million feel that 10 years ago it was possible to move even faster than today, because nothing changed in this sphere. The infrastructure is the same, but there are much more cars. That is why we have to spend much more time in order to travel from the job to the shop and then home. So the time for commuting is more and more with every passing year. So we don't need any deep analytics to understand that in the sphere of transport, there are no innovations. And we as modern people want mobility. So friends, there is a very good phrase which shows a quick development in the sphere due to the creator of the skyway technology, Anatoly Yunitsky, that the idea whose time has come cannot be stopped. The modern society, the modern situation for people requires mobility. And this time has come in 2014. So new decisions are to be implemented, new solutions for ecology, for safety during the transportation from point A to point B. And this time came in 2014. It was then when the creator of the technology, Anatoly Yunitsky, announced that he was ready to implement Skyway, or the whole system is called Stream Transport of Yunitsky. He was developing this direction for over 30 years at that time. So it is the right time to understand that this is the right time. We'll talk about it a bit later. But now I'd like to voice the following fact, important during the implementation of any innovation. It is financing. So if we look at all the spheres that I numbered, like communications, for example, when Steve Jobs developed the first personal computer, or when Microsoft was developed, and when Mark Zuckerberg, who created the first social network called Facebook, was developed, all these companies required financial finances to show that it works and then to scale it. So when innovations are created, the spirit is the most important and risky, because at this period of time, all innovators, people do not believe to the innovators. People who hear for the first time of these innovations contradict them and create obstacles. If we look at the history of Steve Jobs, if you watched his biographical film when he presented his computer in one of the educational institutions. Important experts gathered there, and they said no to his invention. They said that nobody would need it. It makes no sense. You will not be successful. But we all know that Apple is one of the most important and expensive companies in the world, under 50 years of age. Before 2014, Anatoly Eduardovich met such obstacles on his way too. They happen today too, but they're much rare, because the results speak for themselves. There are facts that we cannot deny. You cannot call white black, because if somebody tries to do it, everybody will see that he's subjective. So in 2014, in order to implement 35 years of work, in order to implement the work of this genial person, financing was badly needed. In order to implement any project from paper into something material, finances are necessary. Usually, innovations are supported by large investors, private or official, or state structures. But all the way of Anatoly Eduardovich before 2014 showed that such people and structures did not support innovations. But everybody understood the idea that transport had to be changed somehow. So he was told, well, if it all happens like you promise, we will be your customers, Anatoly Eduardovich. So in 2014, he understood one thing. Only future users of transport could support him. Just common people who need this transport, who want the ecology to be sustainable. People who want our environment not to deteriorate that we are facing now every day, which is the result of that in the sphere of transport and in the technocratic society, something has to be changed. So friends, because each of us uses transport every day, be it a public one or personal, or we use taxis, all of us are using the transport. In 2014, Anatoly Yunitsky offered to share his intellectual property worked out during the decades of his work in return for the financing of the project. And in 2014, for the first time in the world on such a scale, people's or popular investment started, and we are all a part of this process. It says that the creator of the technology planned the financing of the process of implementation of his technology, which is broken into 15 stages, because every process, every construction is broken into stages, be it a house or anything else. So it is built, then all the legal papers are drawn, etc. So this is almost the same, but on a much larger scale. So at the moment, we already see the results of such people's investing. The technology is implemented in 2 countries. The first is Belarus, Marina Gorka, 60 kilometers from Minsk, and there, for people's money, with the help of crowd investing, 5 operating stream tracks are functioning. A new track is being built on the territory of Marina Gorka today with the help of the company that has over 700 engineers working for it. Different types of transport are being built, like passenger, intercity, urban, cargo, etc. Then the United Arab Emirates, tropical climate. The 3rd in size emirate, Sharjah, on the territory of Sharjah Research Technology Innovation Park, the Innovation Center of Stream Technologies is created, and container carriers are being tested there. Stream technologies are capable of transporting heavy containers. So logistics is quite different. So all this has been realized, implemented with the help of crowd investing. I'd like to illustrate my words with 2 short videos illustrating what is already functioning, what is operating today. Let me start them, and I'll watch them with you, so that you could see how it looks like and what are the results of crowd investing. I'd like to show you one of the latest videos from the Innovation Center in Sharjah, where testing of a container carrier is shown. Just a second. You can see how the tests have been carried out in reality. See the track structure and the possibility to transport containers. Let me show the moment when it enters the station. One of the Arabic media shot this footage. I'd like to say that this is a breakthrough, and the people watching the development of the technology haven't understood that we would transport containers, and it would be within the 15 stages of development. It's a serious breakthrough for us. Then I'd like to show you how EcoTechnoPark in Marina Gorka looks like in the territory of the Republic of Belarus. Now I'll show you the screen. We see that 5 track structures I implemented here. The 6th is being built. You've seen the high-speed rolling stock leaving the station, which was presented at InnoTrans, the most important railway transport exhibition in the world. It has also been a serious breakthrough for the engineering company that we all support. And I'd also like to highlight the fact that it develops the speed of 500 kilometers per hour, and in order to demonstrate the speed, a new track structure over 20 kilometers long will be built. And I'm sure it will happen very soon. The territory on which EcoTechnoPark is implemented, the territory is the territory of the former tank test range. Who remembers 2015 and 2016 when it all began? Land was filled with diesel fuel, oils. So it really was just a tank test range. So it destroyed the soil that was there. Why it is implemented there? The name itself, EcoTechnoPark, shows that the technology of stream transport, Anatoly Eduardovich Yunitsky's technology, allows not only to preserve the environment and nature, but to restore what was destroyed by human activity. And all who visited EcoTechnoPark can confirm these words. Who wasn't there, just come there and you see that the technology is harmonious with nature. There are a lot of fruit trees, grapes, apples, pears grown there, flowers, different berries, ecologically clean products, foodstuffs. Everything is grown there. Who has been on the territory of the EcoTechnoPark? Please, I ask you to confirm my words. How harmonious, innovative technologies in transportation with the flourishing land that helps each other. They go together well. Please, who was in EcoTechnoPark, write it. And I'll go on with my thought. So following my topic, I'd like to add that the production facility, which is also in the Republic of Belarus, has no analogs on the territory of the former Soviet countries. The company is autonomous. It manufactures a lot of necessary component parts, everything related to the implementation of the stream transport, everything related to engineering and production or manufacturing is to be respected, because to create from scratch such an institute in the sphere of innovative transport, to create such a team who has managed to implement it all in such a short period of time, this has never happened in the world. I'm sure, speaking about it, because when you analyze what happened at the same time, I often mention the automobile production. Say, in Russia, the Urus car was developed, and several hundreds of millions of dollars, in fact more than $300 million, were spent on this money. So, and the world has seen, after 6 years of development, just a new car with no innovations. And compare it with the stream transport. 6 years, 14 examples of rolling stock, 7 operational track structures in several locations, and at least half of the money spent for its implementation. So if we compare our results and something that is being developed in the world, what we're doing is much heavier, much more important. We can argue or accept this fact, but I'd like to say that all this belongs to every person who supported this technology since 2014, but at the same time, such a possibility still exists, and people still have the chance to support this technology within 15 stages of its development. So speaking about the investment advantages of it, why it is to be interesting, let us return to the companies in the spheres of communications that change the world in a good sense of the word, like Apple, Facebook, some others that I mentioned. Try to remember how much they cost at the very beginning. What was the price of their stocks? Just a trifle, kopecks or cents, as compared to what they cost today. And people who were not afraid to support Steve Jobs, who invested companies like Google, Microsoft, and others, are rather rich people today. And private investors of the Apple company receive very good dividends, because Apple pays dividends to its shareholders. So if we look at what our crowd investing platform, RSW Systems, offers, we offer to every person who has heard of this technology to become co-owners and become the proprietors of shares of this technology, of this innovative transport. If we look at the capitalization of the Apple company, I use this example, and you ought to become much more sober. And you have to understand that our perspective is much better. I'll explain why. Many people that invested in Apple in the 80s, even in the beginning of the century, capitalized their investments very well. But this company doesn't have material resources. It is not worth $500 billion. Its capitalization is due to public relations and the demand, but the material assets do not cost that much. If you look at the stream transport, everything related to the Skyway technology, the package of innovations, if I may use such a word, all this is material assets. Kilometers, then hundreds and then thousands of kilometers implemented with the use of the stream technologies. So material capitalization. I'm trying to speak a simple language to make it understandable to anyone. I do not go into technicalities. I try to explain it to any person who has nothing to do with markets, innovations, etc. So Apple is concrete work in gadgets and communications. Skyway is the infrastructure complex. So in 2030, just imagine that in 20 or 30 years, 100 countries start building roads using the Skyway technology. The scale will be dozens of times higher than what the company that we are analyzing now has. And it will all be implemented in metal and building materials, concrete, etc. Add intellectual property, the manufacturers influencing capitalization. So even if we analyze how Apple, Amazon, and Facebook companies are capitalized and what they use for capitalization, and if you add what Skyway has, that is material assets, it is hard to imagine what capitalization is possible in our direction that we are promoting now, in the beginning of which we are standing now. So the possibility of becoming co-investors of such an innovation happen very rarely in our life. Given the fact that our life is short, it can happen only once in our life, once in the century. Sure, other directions will be developed. Other technologies will bring something new to the world, but if you understand better, if you analyze deeper what Anatoly Dardashchinsky says, so this is the book Engineer. In this book, you can, reading it, you can understand the scale of this personality. He's Leonardo da Vinci of our time, and stream transport is not all that he has invented. Spacewave technology is behind my back. It's visualization, operating model, physically working construction, behind my back. It shows what the creator of Skyway technology is trying to achieve, of transferring the harmful industry into outer space. So the Skyway technology can be a launch pad for the realization and implementation of this global project. So capitalization of what Anton Dardovich is doing can be dozens of times more than that of Amazon, Apple, and other companies like that. So if you are still thinking and not investing with us, thinking that it is not developing very quickly, I ask you to analyze what has been done by the engineering company, by all the community of Skyway fellow thinkers. A lot has been done since 2016, because only in 2015 the first work started in Belarus, because we lost a lot of time during the obstacles created. So study the history and you'll know what I mean. What has been done, well, required only 5 years. Show me what Elon Musk and some other persons managed to do. Some other people who are developing high-speed transport. So in 2 years, we showed very good results. What has been done today is threefold to what was promised. If you look at how new dwelling buildings are built, so it takes 3 years to build a house, a multi-story building. It's 2, 3, and sometimes 4 years. If it's a complex, it's up to 5 years. This is how much it takes to build what has been known for decades. It's not a long period of time. And in the sphere of innovation, it's a very short period of time. Analyzing Siemens high-speed trains, billions of euros were used to create this technology in several decades. So speaking of Skyway, 5 years, 6 years is nothing. It's a short period of time. Speaking of the capitalization perspectives, let us analyze the event that's ahead of us. The biggest economic exhibition, not even economic, it is related to the economy. It's related to achievements in different spheres of activity of all the countries in the world. This exhibition is called Expo 2020, that had to happen last year, but due to the pandemic, it was postponed to 2021. So it will begin on the 1st of October until March next year on the territory of the United Arab Emirates, and the technology of Unitsky will be presented there on the highest level. And considering the fact that the engineering company has announced that it's working on several targeted commercial projects. I'm sure that in the nearest time, during the exhibition Expo 2020, projects will, the quantity of such projects will grow, and it will bring closer the capitalization time for the investors like us. There was a question in the chat about the initial public offering. Dear friends, if you analyze investment theory, you will understand that in order to generate profit, IPO is not necessary. And not only IPO can influence the price of the shares that we possess. All this will be during the period of studies. The 24th of July, we'll have a very important meeting. It will be for the shareholders, for experienced investors, or even for the passive investors, for the onlookers. So on the 24th of July, I will voice some changes, some news, some innovations that will raise the spirits and will make you understand the vector of development of the engineering company and our crowd investing platform RSW Systems. That is why I'm announcing this meeting beforehand, because a lot of you have asked questions in the chat. So friends, our meeting today on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. is the preliminary information for people who don't yet know what we're doing. So this is for the newcomers who do not know much, or just the onlookers. So this information is presented in the simplest way. Moreover, I'm trying to present the same information differently, taking different angles, trying to work out the ideal format to be understood by the majority of people. But once in a month, or sometimes maybe once in 2 months, when important events happen, as in the engineering company and our platform, I will hold such events. So remember, Saturday, July 24th, the meeting will take about 2 hours. A lot will have to be discussed. A special format will be used, and the question and answers format is also expected. So wait for July 24 and next Tuesday. I don't remember the date, the 20th of July at 7 p.m. I invite you again. Come with new people, not alone, because I'm sure that in the nearest future we will develop very quickly, and the last railway car is left. Only the 15th stage is ahead. So use the possibility that you still have, invite people in order not to hear their words that you have not showed and told them, because lost opportunities is one of the saddest things that can happen in our lives, because very many people lost chances, and the feelings are not very pleasant. I think we all know them. So, our friends, the preliminary presentation is over. I wait for you on the 24th of July. All the investors and shareholders of Skyway Technology on Saturday, and all the active participants of the partnership program, our agents, active supporters of the Skyway Technology. All of you are invited on Tuesday at 7 p.m. to come to the following presentation and not be alone. Please bring new people with you. Thank you for taking part in our today's live air, and see you at 7 p.m. on the 20th of July. On the 24th of July, I'll tell you all about the EcoFest, the format, when and where it will happen. On the 24th of July, you'll know. No information on tokens will be given on the 24th of July. There were news, but in order to tell it in more detail, remember, on the 24th of July. So friends, thank you. See you. Have a nice evening.